Good morning and thanks for joining back up with us everybody for part 8, the final instalment of our tour around Scotland. Over the week our intrepid riders have now done 800 miles around Scotland, and those that left Northampton last Friday have now done a staggering 1100 miles. We're now just a stone's throw away from completing the NC500 at Inverness and have just spent our last night all together at Delny Glamping. Here's a photo showing the scene at Delny Glamping from Steve Green, who was up bright and early. There's Dawn after a night in one of Delny's whisky pods. And as we're coming to the end of our trip, now's a good time as any to get some comments about the week from some of our riders.
Absolutely amazing, and I've loved every single minute. Ballack Bar is definitely the thing to do, mate. Seriously, buzzing.
Well, this trip has been absolutely gorgeous. I like the steam train, I like coming down the mountains and going around all the twisty bends, and it was absolutely brilliant. You've got the beaches, and you've got these beautiful places where you sleep, and when you get up in the morning you just go again. You get on that bike and you just keep going to places and places.
Highlights of the week, can't pin it down. There's just everything from the journey up to the hotel nights, to the views, to the laughs that we've had while we've been here. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Certainly the best bike experience I've ever had. Cheers.
Highlights of the week for me was just riding through the Highlands. It's just the most beautiful, majestic place I've ever seen. Obviously the wedding, the fantastic backdrop with the beautiful beach. It's just been a stunning week, and I'd recommend anyone in the club to come. Take care everyone, ride safe.
The highlight of the week for me was a Jacobite steam train coming out of Fort William. It was amazing to see. A lovely steam engine, as far as north as Fort William. Great things. I loved it every minute. Thank you very much.
This Scotland trip has absolutely been brilliant. The scenery is absolutely magic. One of the highlights of the week was going to a waterfall where you walk onto a bridge and go over. I'm scared of heights, but I still looked. But the scenery is unreal, and it's a surprise every corner you go round. But the biggest surprise of the week was Mr. Peacock and Dawn getting married, and that was a brilliant night as well.
This was our last morning all together as a group on this trip. After a coffee and a croissant at Delny Glamping, we all set off on our long journeys. It was over 500 miles for all of us to get home over the next 2 days. All those that were riding all the way back to Northamptonshire on their scooters had 250 miles to do today, with some stops along the way, a couple of sights to see and 3 replenishment stops. The other half of our group, who'd all conveyed their scooters up to Fort William by van, would be leaving us after a final group photo in Inverness. They'd be heading back on the A82 alongside Loch Ness on their journeys back to Fort William, where they'd be reloading the vans and making tracks back through Glencoe and down to Dumfries for a stopover. Anyway, for all of us, the first stop of the day was for fuel. We could find it 5 miles down the A9.
We had a petrol stop at the ski hatch services near Evanton before we crossed the Cromarty Firth. The Cromarty Bridge was opened in 1979 and it is 1.5 miles long. Then it was a left turn in search of the old ancient spring. We found the spring and the Clooty Well at Munlochy. It was easy to spot as the surrounding trees were all covered in bits of old cloth, rags and people's skeggy underwear. What's all this about? Apparently it's an old Celtic tradition that you dip a cotton garment in the spring water, walk around the Clooty Well 3 times and tie your clute to a nearby tree. This is linked to an old ancient belief that it's supposed to cure you of all your ailments. As the cloth rots, then supposedly all your ailments fade away. So Dawn decided to give it a go. Here she is with a wet bra in hand, which is about to tie to a nearby tree. Watch this space. We'll get Dawn to let you know if it's worked.
Leaving the Clooty Well, our next stop was 7 miles away at Inverness. We headed over the Cairngorms Bridge with views to the left, looking towards the Inverness Caledonian Thistle Football Club. Cairngorms Bridge was originally constructed in 1978 and opened in 1982, costing £17.5 million, the equivalent of 150 billion today. We headed into Inverness to take our group photos at the castle at the official start and finish line of the NC500.
Alright, well, we made it to the end of the NC500. I've been driving the van and I've done nothing to help with fixing the Vespas, but I did fix the Lambretta and it's been fucking great.
Annie, you're driving the van for us next year, Sarah?
No, I'm going on my Lambretta.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah,
Glad
we
to
need
hear
a
it.
van driver.
We need a van driver for next year.
Kay's not about then, Martin, no?
She's just on her way.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll wait. I'll wait for Kay.
So with the photos at Inverness all done, we said our farewells to the van wankers who were heading for Fort William. In stark contrast to that, now is as good a time as any to say a massive heartfelt thank you to Sarah and Kay, who'd both done a sterling job all week driving the support vehicles. They were never far behind us, with oils, spares and tools, but many thanks Kay and many thanks Sarah. And with that, the riding group all set off on their journey south.
After a quick stop at Culloden Battlefield for a photo, we called into Carbridge for fuel, discovering next to the petrol station the historic and picturesque Pack Horse Bridge.
Hello, it's me again. Tough old week. I'm absolutely f***ed. I have to have a Red Bull.
It's been a tough old week. I've even had to resort to this. That'll get me through. Gives you wings.
Our afternoon's ride took us along the Cairngorms tourist route, through Speybridge, the Bridge of Brown and Tomintoul. Then it was a spectacular climb on the approach to Lecht, on what seemed like a road up to the clouds.
We continued to make our way through the amazing countryside in blazing sunshine, across the Cairngorm Mountains, stopping at the Loch Ski Centre to stretch our legs, take some quick snaps, and of course, place the obligatory club sticker on the Welcome to Aberdeenshire signpost.
We've had a leg stretcher and we're just setting off from Loch Ski Resort. I don't think there's any chance of us doing any skiing today. There's no snow in sight, but it's beautiful weather and deep blue skies. We're just enjoying these wonderful mountain roads, their bends, passes and majestic views. This route is commonly known as the Snow Roads. And it's time to set Steve Wheatler's GoPro running to give you an idea of the fantastic terrain.
And as one bend opens out, another stunning view appears ahead. It is absolutely fantastic.
Stretched the legs, 120 miles under the belt already today. We're about the halfway point, right in the heart of the Cairngorms. Absolutely stunning. Some of the best roads I've ever ridden then. 120 to go before the digs tonight at Waverley Castle. So it's a tough old day. In fact, it's been a tough old week. So I've had to have a Red Bull. Thank you.
So we're just enjoying a well-deserved Red Bull at Braemar Garage, and it's clear to see that other enthusiasts are enjoying this awesome stretch of roads. Here comes the Sports Car Club with their BMWs, Mercs, Porsche and 3 Ferraris.
The next section of our journey saw us head up and over Glen Shee on the A93 and past Perth on a 66-mile leg to Kinross.
We've made it all the way to Kinross Services. It's been a long old day. We've put in a good shift, so I'm having to have a Red Bull.
Meanwhile, we'd had news from the westernly side of Scotland. The van wankers had got to Fort William without incident and were all heading back down south through the Glencoe Valley en route to Dumfries. The brothers Eamon and Gary had made a bit of a detour, calling in at Lockerbie to pay their respects to the victims of the tragic air disaster of 1988. From Kinross Services, the riders pressed on down the M90 with 70 miles still to do before their stopover at Melrose. They were soon crossing the 2017 Queensferry Crossing Bridge, which at 1.7 miles long is in fact the longest 3-tower cable-stayed bridge in the world. After circumnavigating the Scottish capital on the City of Edinburgh bypass, the riders then turned off down the A7 and found fuel at Newton Grange. With just 28 miles remaining on their epic day's riding, the A7 through the Scottish borders and on towards Galashiels didn't disappoint. But I for one won't deny it. The sight of our night's accommodation, the majestic Waverley Castle, was certainly very welcoming.
Mate, it's been a tough old week. We're knackered, aren't we?
Yeah.
But fancy sharing a Red Bull?
Yeah, go on.
Cheers, everyone.
Good morning everyone, and thanks for staying with us as our fantastic week around Scotland draws to a close on day 9. Today is a total of 283 miles to get home, and we're hoping to get there about 4 p.m. After a nice, inclusive 3-course evening meal at the Waverley Castle, it was a relatively quiet evening with a couple of drinks before we were retired into the lovely comfy beds for a good night's sleep.
Good morning, boys and girls. Just woke up from Waverley Castle, went to pay me bill. £220 odd for 3 pints. I was a bit shocked, so I had to have one of these.
After leaving the Waverley Castle Hotel, we took a quick skirt around the picturesque town of Melrose, which sits on the River Tweed next to the triple peaks of the Eildon Hills. As soon as we hit the trunk road, it's only 20 miles down the A68 through Jedburgh until we cross the border into England.
We've had a fantastic trip. It's been a tough old week, so I've had to have a glass of rosé. But joking apart, the icing on the cake for me was starting on this trip as Miss Twist, but finishing it as Mrs. Peacock. We've had a fantastic trip with fantastic roads, fantastic scenery, all shared with great friends. So it's goodbye Scotland for now, but I'll never get tired of this scenery and I'm already looking forward to next year.
The final bit of our route covered on Scottish roads is the section of spectacular sweeping bends on the A68 from Huntford up to the Carter Bar Borderstones.
Okay, we've had an amazing week, 1700 mile round trip, 1100 miles all around Scotland. My two primary concerns was that everybody's had a good time, which I think they have, and the other thing was that I needed to make sure everybody got home safely and all in one piece. Touch wood, we're on the final leg and there's been no major drama. I'd just like to thank Andy Northfield, Will Burford, Stella Steve Wheatley, Dawn of course, and Stuart Harding for helping me get everybody around the route and showing them the right way. Other than that, a bit disappointed it's all over. Just got to wait 354 days till we can do it all again next year. Now we're in f***ing England!
We'd stuck to the A68 as it's a far nicer ride and a more direct route than the A1. Thankfully the weather was being kind to us, giving us nice riding conditions, good vision and great views across the rolling hills of Northumberland. And there goes Stella Steve. The Lambretta V125 has done him proud this week. At the end of the A68 we hooked back up with the A1 near Darlington and bumped into a few bikers at Scotch Corner Services.
Right, we're on the last leg now, Doncaster. A couple of roadside repairs and then a blowout on the A1. I think this one's well and truly done, but we all pulled together, got it all sorted. fan dabby dozy.